We've been wondering since what, 2021? How much did Brian Laundrie's parents know when Gabby Petito went missing and subsequently when we found out that she was murdered by their own son? Oh boy, both Christopher and Roberta Laundrie, they are being sued for intentional infliction of emotional distress. That happens when one acts in a way that either recklessly or intentionally causes one to suffer severe emotional distress. And in this situation, it is with Gabby Petito's family. There's already been a wrongful death lawsuit filed against the state of Brian Petito, and that one's already been settled. This is a different civil lawsuit that's going to hopefully have a jury trial in May of this year. Also named in the lawsuit as well is their lawyer, Stephen Bertolino. He made a statement on behalf of the Laundrie's family after both Christopher and Roberta, Brian Laundrie, their lawyer, after days and weeks of being silent when people were wondering where was Gabby Petito. You see, Gabby's family, they knew that Brian and Gabby were going to go on this van life road trip. They were going to document everything on social media. Gabby wanted to become a YouTuber. She wanted to do the van life influencer. And Gabby was pretty good with updating on social media. She was good with talking to her family on phone calls, on text messages. However, Gabby's family started becoming concerned when they realized she was not updating Instagram, when they weren't getting calls or text messages from her. This was raising red flags. When they couldn't get a hold of Gabby, they tried to reach out to Brian Laundrie. No response. They tried reaching out to Brian Laundrie's parents. No response as well. Tried messaging them on Facebook. No response whatsoever. And at some point, they had to try to file a missing persons report. But because this was across so many different states, it was very hard for them to figure out, okay, which law enforcement can we work with? They try to go back and forth a little bit. And I think it took them about 24 hours before they were finally able to file a proper missing persons report. Now, the authorities, they went over to the Laundrie's family's house and they saw the van that Gabby and both Brian went on in the driveway. And apparently Brian was home as well. So if you're Gabby's family, you're thinking, what the fuck? Where is Gabby? Why are you here? And why are you driving my daughter's van? Yep, it was very frustrating for a lot of us. We finally get answers from the Laundrie family. However, there is something that I do want you guys to consider. What would you have done if you were in their shoes? And I know that's something that's going to be really hard for a lot of you guys to consider, or you probably wouldn't want to put yourselves in their shoes to begin with. A lot of you are going to be like, oh, I know exactly what I would do. But I want you guys to be very, very honest with yourselves. When we go over the deposition, I do want to know, what would you guys have done? To me, this case is just very interesting because it just seems so unique. Having the family being sued and their lawyer as well for the actions of Brian Laundrie. But it's not directly from his actions, it's from their actions that piggybacked off of his actions. Anyways, I think it'd be really interesting to hear some of your guys' answers. Let me know in the live stream or in the comments below. But first, let me put on my glasses, and actually, these are pretty dirty. I should clean it. While I'm cleaning my glasses, y'all, don't forget to comment on the stream, okay? Get the algorithm moving. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and then join me on the live streams. We go live on YouTube and Twitch, doing a lot of the true crime stuff, live court reacts. I swear, my vision has gotten worse. Ta-da! This is Brian Laundrie's father, and I've highlighted the portions that we're going to go over because these pages are very long. Maybe on a live stream, I'll go over the whole thing. Let me know if you guys are interested in that, or just tell me. Starting with Steve Bertolino, we're going to see how far back does their relationship go with their lawyer, the one who's also being sued as well. Okay, can you describe the relationship that you had with Mr. Bertolino? Answer, we were friends, yeah, and crossed paths quite a bit. Have you ever been in any kind of business relationship with him? Well, I made investments. He made, I owned real estate with him. Has he ever represented you as an attorney prior to 2021? Well, mainly when I bought and sold property in New York, he was, yes. Okay, so you were involved in a real estate transaction and he would represent you? Yeah, he took all of my matters, my wills, things like that. Now, a little bit of context. So we are going to get the communication between the Laundrie family and Steve Bertolino. And a lot of you guys are probably wondering, well, what about attorney-client privilege? Well, they waived that. However, the attorney-client privilege between Steve Bertolino, the lawyer, and Brian Laundrie is not waived. Did you ever, prior to 2001, I think it's supposed to say 2021, hear any claims that Brian had been involved in DV? No. Did he have anger issues? No. Are you aware of whether he was ever involved in a fight prior to 2021? No. He was not, or you don't know? I don't know. I don't know. Describe Brian from high school up until 2021. I don't know how to describe him. What do you mean by describe him? Tell me about him. If somebody was like, hey, I never knew your son, tell me about him. Well, he was a great kid. He was ambitious. He was outgoing. He was a great guy. Was he respectful? Absolutely. Was he honest? Yes. Had he ever been in trouble as a kid? Not that I know of, no. I think that's kind of weird. If you were to tell someone to describe your children, usually people are like, oh my God, like A, B, and C. Like when people tell me describe your dog, I'm like so happy too. But in this scenario, it's like, describe your son. I don't know what you mean by that. I don't know. Maybe just nervous from this deposition. We get some background information with Christopher Laundrie and when he met Gabby for the first time about Brian and Gabby's relationship and where they were living at this point. Because I think that's going to be pretty important. What were the circumstances of meeting her? I was surprised because I've never heard of her. He didn't speak of her, but I was surprised that he just came home with her and introduced her, and that's all. Did you ever have any concerns about the relationship between Brian and Gabby? Any normal concerns of somebody new, somebody, you know, making commitments and all, but otherwise, no. Do you recall any specific concerns you had? No, I didn't have any. Did you get to know Gabby? Yes. What did you think of her? She was very nice, very respectful. What were your thoughts on her joining your family? We welcome her. Did you love her? Yes. Did your wife love her? Yes. Was your wife jealous of her? Not at all. Do you recall an incident in which your wife made a cake or a pie and Brian and Gabby were sitting and talking, not paying attention to your wife, and she got upset, threw the cake or the pie away? I don't remember that, no. Did your impression of Gabby ever change over time period that you knew her until her passing? Well, we all were living together. We left it was just a little bit of everybody moved in together, you know? So it was a new experience. So otherwise, that's about it. But did your impression of her ever change? No. How long did they live with you on Redacted? Well, 5 months, but Gabby came and went. I'd say 4 months, really. What do you mean she came and went? Well, she'd leave for a week, go back north, whatever she was going. Yeah, so I'd say, amount of time was quite a bit. Did you ever have any disagreements with Gabby? No. Did your wife ever have any disagreements with Gabby? No. Did you ever see any disagreements between Brian and Gabby? No. Can you describe their relationship as you observed it, please? I thought it was a very good relationship. They were young, two young people really trying to have a good time, and they did, as far as I know. I know a lot of people are going to pick at this, and I'm picking at it as well, where it says, did you love her? As in, did you guys love Gabby? And they're like, we did. It's like, did you really? We're going to talk about the, I don't know how to pronounce this, moab incident, where there was a body cam footage that was released after Gabby was reported missing. This was when there was an altercation that happened between Gabby and Brian. There were people driving by and they called 911 saying that they saw the girl running back and forth and she was being slapped by her boyfriend. And police showed up and I think they saw maybe a bruise on Brian, maybe like Gabby had like blood smeared on her face. And so it was a very odd incident. We don't really know exactly what happened. We do get a little bit of a context of it where Gabby explains it to her parents, but that's the incident that we're going to talk about now. Question: was there ever a time where you became aware of any of the incidents between Brian and Gabby on the trip? Answer: no. When did you become aware of the August 12, 2024 incident in Moab? When it was on the news. Okay, and when was it on the news? I don't know the exact time, but it was on the news. After they returned from the trip? After Brian returned from the trip? It was after. So you weren't aware that there was a DV incident in Moab on August 12, 2021? No. Do you know if Brian spoke with your wife about that? No. No, you don't know, or no, she didn't? No, I don't know, so no. When's the next time after June of 2021 that you saw Brian? When he came and visited. And when was that? That was in August. Does August 17th sound right? Yes. Yes? Yes. Now, why did he come back to visit? It was apparently to empty. Apparently he said he wanted to empty his storage unit. Why? To save money? And what was done with the items in the storage unit? He put it back in the room that he was staying. Was the storage unit emptied in total? Yes. Why is it that Brian came to do that instead of asking you guys to do it? We offered to do it. He seemed anxious to come home to say, maybe he just wanted to come home, Well, that was 5 days after the Moab incident. Was there anything that you observed about Brian when he came home that caused you concern? None. And he didn't tell you that there had been a police incident between he and Gabby just days before? No. And he seemed fine? He did. Do you have any bruising on him that you're aware of? No. Do you know why he came alone? I don't know why he came alone. I just thought he wanted to come and see us and say hello. Did you ask him why Gabby didn't come home with him? It sounded as if she wanted time to make her website, so that was the only reason. The only reason that he said. She couldn't do it while she was there. I don't know, which doesn't make sense. Did he talk with you about the trip? Not really, no. Did you ask him where he'd been? No. Did you ask him how Gabby was? Yeah. What did he say? Everything was fine. How long did she stay home? I think it was like 5 days. What did he do other than cleaning out the storage unit during that 5-day time period? Nothing much. We all went out, we went to the beach, had dinners, just normal stuff. When he came home, did you have any concerns about him continuing the trip? No. He told us again that they were going to Oregon to maybe work in a pumpkin place, that they'd get, learn farming and help with that season of pumpkins. That's it. That's what he told me. Why were you calling every hour for a 3-hour period, leaving a message on Brian's voice message on August 27th? I don't even know what day that is. What is the date? I don't know. Well, that's the day that FBI believes Gabby was murdered. Do you know why you would have called him 3 times within a 3-hour period and leaving him a voice message? I might have just been wanting to talk to him. So again, they believe the murder happened on August 28th. However, there were phone calls between Brian and his parents, but Brian's father saying that, well, we're just catching up. Things were completely normal. Things were fine. However, we're going to get on August 29th now. On the 29th Sunday, August 29th, do you know if you spoke with Brian? Yeah, I spoke to Brian. What did you guys speak about? He had called. Well, that's the day everything, hit the fan, I think. How did everything hit the fan? That Brian, Roberta had spoke to Brian that day. I think when he spoke and she got off the phone, she said to me, Brian said, without telling me what she said to you, how did the shit hit the fan? What did you learn about Brian? I called Brian because, I felt I should call him. So I called him and that's what I did. And what did he say to you? I asked him, how is he doing? And he, he was not calm and got very excited and told me things had, Gabby's gone and he was very frantic. Everything was frantic and quick. So, Gabby's gone. Meaning what? Well, I had no idea what he meant. Well, what else did he say? Well, it was quick, it was very panicked. He said he didn't know what to do. He said, can you help me? He might need a lawyer, and I asked him why he wouldn't tell me. He was very frantic. Everything was frantic. And I started not to really comprehend. Then he said, can you help me? And I said, okay, I'll help you. And I calmed him down. I said, I don't know. It was all mumbled. I still don't remember everything that happened, but he said he needed help to get an attorney. And I told him, yeah, I'll help you. I'll call Steven Bertolino and just stay put. And then I asked him again. He just said, just help me. And I said, yeah, I'm going to. So stay calm, stay put. And he hung up. Did he say where he was? He did. Where did he say he was? Jackson. Jackson what? That's all he said. Jackson, Wyoming? He didn't say that. Was there any other Jackson out west that you're aware of? No. Did he say that he'd murdered Gabby? No. Did he say she was gone? He said it several times. And he was frantic? Frantic. And he said he needed a lawyer. He did. Okay. Did you understand what he mean that something had happened to Gabby? I understood that something was wrong. Okay. Something was wrong meaning what? I had no idea. Well, your son's frantic. He wants you to call a lawyer and Gabby's gone. Did you believe at the time that he murdered her? No. Did you believe that she was dead at the time? Not at all. What do you think gone meant? I didn't know what to think at the moment, at all. So that's that. Okay. Well, if he told you that she was gone, but she just walked away, would he have been frantic? Do you think? All I know is what he told me, and it was very quick and very, very nervous and very scattered. So I don't remember everything he said, but he said he needed help. And I tried to calm him down, and he would not calm down. He hung up on the phone on me. And so then on August, and that was a conversation you had with him on August 29th? Yes. How long was that phone call? I don't think it was 5 minutes. Your wife spoke with Brian on 2 occasions on Saturday the 28th, once at 9:30 p.m. for 7 minutes and once at 11:29 p.m. for 10 minutes. Do you know if at that time he mentioned that Gabby was gone? I don't know. I don't know. I was with her. I don't think I was with her those times. Where would you have been at the time of the night on August 28th? I was at the race. Oh, your wife wasn't with you? No. And then after the telephone call, did you contact Attorney Bertolino? After the call, yes. Okay, and what did you contact Attorney Bertolino about? that just what was going on. I called him, told him the same thing, let him know that's what happened. Yeah, so I explained who Gabby was and everything, and Brian was on a trip and he called me. I called him and this is what he told me. You know, that's it. So that's what I told him. How are you guys feeling right now? Your son calls you frantically saying she's gone, she's gone. I need help. I need you to help me. Please call an attorney. Now, I know when it's someone close to you and I know when it's family, it's hard to even consider that they would be a murderer. However, what would you have thought? What are some things that would have gone through your head? Did you tell Attorney Bertolino that you were concerned that Gabby was dead? After the conversation of how frantic he was, you know, it was something I thought we had to consider. Okay, then. Okay, so on August 29th of 2021, your son told you that Gabby was gone and you had a belief that she may be dead, correct? I didn't know. Okay, but you had a belief that she might be dead, correct? I didn't believe that. No. Wait, you literally just said that was something you thought you had to consider. Oh, I feel like he said that accidentally and he's like now trying to backtrack maybe. Okay, but you had a belief that she might be dead, correct? I didn't believe that. No, you didn't? So what else would gone mean and that your son was so frantic? What else, what other possible interpretation could there be of that? I don't know. I had no idea, but you know, I can guess a million things for you. Well, did you guess one of them was that she just walked away? Yeah, it's a possibility. Okay, that if she was walking away, why would he be frantic? Maybe yes, but why frantic and say, I need you to help me, and why also call a lawyer? Whew. But he didn't say that she left, did he? He said that she was gone. Okay, and if she just left and walked away, do you think he would have needed an attorney for that? It was a situation of how frantic it was. I had no idea what to think. He asked me to get a lawyer. I couldn't get any more information from him. Okay, and I did what he asked. He didn't say that she walked away, right? Not that I know of. I don't remember, but I don't think he did. He didn't say that she was kidnapped by someone, did he? No. What did Attorney Bertolino say to you? Well, he said, well, he did discuss that, you know, maybe something seriously happened and, you know, we would act accordingly to keep everything. We don't know. So that's it. So Gabby was someone who lived with you, correct? Yes. Someone that you love. Yes. And you knew that her parents would have wanted to know something happened to her, correct? Yes. Okay. Did you ever consider calling her parents? No. Why? You never even considered calling her parents? I didn't know because I had no reason to at the very moment to think anything was going on. Gabby took off, did things that she was on her free will. So I had no idea where she was. Oh man, I don't know if I buy this. Oh no. Listen, Gabby wasn't just some girlfriend that Brian met for a couple of weeks. She wasn't just like a fling. Gabby was with Brian for a couple of years. His family met her on many occasions, and at some point, they all lived together in the same household for months. So it would be different if this was a girlfriend that wasn't very close to the family, if they didn't have her contact information, but I'm sure they had her contact information. This was someone that was going to be your daughter-in-law. There's a reason why they probably never called her once to even check up on her, because they probably understood what the concept of gone meant. Yes, it's hard to want to believe that your son may be a murderer. However, I feel like they were purposely not wanting to be honest with themselves because they didn't want to deal with the reality of things. Well, Brian never called you frantically and hung up on you when she'd taken off and gone off on her free will, had she? I don't understand that question. What is that question? Ooh, I feel like he's being tripped up right now. You said that she'd taken off before on her own free will. Isn't that what you said? Yeah. Okay. And should I call him then? No. But Brian he never called you and was frantic when she did that. Did he? Yeah, I don't know. You don't know if he ever called you when she... No. Look. I know what he said on the phone and that's how I responded. Okay. But he's never called you before on those moments before she just walked off on her own, right? No. Okay. And he's never told you on those occasions that she was gone? No. At any time prior to the time that Gabby's body was located, did you consider calling her parents to let them know what had happened? I was concerned for everybody. No, you weren't. Everything, So, it was very difficult to deal with. So I don't know what the hell to think. Well, you're concerned for everybody. Did that include Joe Petito and Nicole Schmidt? Yeah, I was worried about everybody. I was worried about Gabby. I was worried about everybody. You know what? He should just be honest with himself and just own up to it. I didn't give a fuck about her family. I didn't give a fuck about her. I only cared about my son. That is what the action showed. Yeah, I was worried about everybody. I was worried about Gabby. I was worried about everybody. But if you were worried about Gabby, why wouldn't you have called her and check up on her to make sure she's okay? If you knew she was gone, and if you, in some very really weird universe, you interpret it as she walked away, why not try to get in contact with her? Why not get in contact with her family? Be like, hey, something happened with our 2 kids. You know, they're about to get married, but it seems like shit's going down. Why don't you check up on your daughter? Okay, so what did you do with that concern with Joe Petito and Nicole Schmidt? I left it in my attorney's position there. Okay. I don't know what the right thing to do. I don't know how to respond to any of this. And still to this day, so I don't know how anybody would handle it. So I relied on attorney Steven. All I knew, and that was that. Okay. And then I couldn't have thought of anybody. I care about everybody. You know, I don't know what we're getting at here. Oh, you know what we're getting at? No. That's what this lawsuit is about. That I cared for anybody? I do. I did care. And I didn't call him because it was, it was the advice not to. Oh, man. That was Attorney Bertolino's advice to you, is to keep quiet? Yeah. Did he specifically advise you to not call the Petitos? Yeah, I mean, not the Petitos, but don't speak to anybody about this. Okay. Did you have any conversation with Attorney Bertolino about Gabby's family? No, I don't. We talked about a lot of things, so I don't know if we talked about that specifically. Well, from the moment that you got this phone call when this stuff hit the fan until Gabby's body was located, did you have a conversation with Attorney Bertolino about Joe Petito and or Nicole Schmidt? About them what? I'm sure we talked about them. I don't know. Okay, what do you recall talking about? I don't recall anything. Did he tell you not to specifically talk to them? He said not to speak to anybody. Did he tell you to specifically not to talk to Joseph Petito and Nicole Schmidt? Not that I remember. Okay. Did he tell you not to take their phone calls if they try to reach you? He said not to speak to anybody. Did he tell you not to respond to them on Facebook, by text, or if they reach out to you? We were told not to respond to anybody. When was the first time Brian spoke with Attorney Bertolino? The day he got home. He came home on the 1st, I guess. Did he tell you where Gabby was? No. Did he ever tell you where Gabby was? No. But the last place, strike that. The place that he was when he told you that she was gone was in Jackson. That's all he said. That's all I know. Did you ever disclose to anyone that's the last place you spoke to Brian was in Jackson? I told my attorney. Brian came home on September 1st, correct? Correct. Driving Gabby's van. Yes. Do you know what time he got home? I don't know. I think it was early or midday. Did you talk to him then? I spoke with him, yeah. What did he say? Not much. We said hello. Okay, how did he seem? He seemed okay. He seemed okay? That's what he said, yeah. Just days before Gabby was gone and now he's okay? I said he seemed okay, yes. Okay, so he wasn't upset? At that point, no. Wasn't angry? No, he was confused, but very subtle. But something was wrong. What was he confused about? I have no idea. He just seemed, you're asking me how he was. I'm saying, he was like a kid who came home, in trouble, but that's how he seemed. A kid who came home in trouble for what? I have no idea. Okay, all right. I have no idea. Really, Christopher, you have no idea? Well, let's connect the dots. He told you Gabby was gone. He's frantic. He's upset. He's like a kid that came home and he was in trouble. Did that lead you to believe that he murdered Gabby? No. No? I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened. Okay. So, I don't know what I could tell you. I don't know what happened. Did you ever ask him what happened? I asked him when I was on the phone and he panicked and freaked out. So I didn't ask. After that, you didn't ask him? No. Why not? I didn't know what to do. At that point, we were told not to discuss. Steven asked me, no, don't discuss with Brian. And that's what I did. I didn't discuss. Well, he asked me not to discuss anything with Brian. He didn't want you to talk to your own son about what possibly might have happened out in Wyoming. Yeah, he asked me, don't get into it, Did Brian see any medical care providers or counselors when he came home? No. Were you concerned for Gabby? Yes. What was your concern? Where is she? Where was she? Well, did you have a concern that if he murdered her, she might just be out in the open somewhere? No, because Gabby came and went. Gabby did what Gabby wanted to do, so I don't know. Okay. He mentioned earlier in the deposition that Gabby would sometimes go to New York to go visit family for a week at a time. I can't believe he's trying to equate that to this scenario where she's gone. He's saying that like, oh, well, I was worried about her, but not to the extent that she was murdered because I knew she came and went. But it's completely ignoring or purposely ignoring the context, because this context is completely different than visiting your family in New York for a week at a time versus having your son calling you frantically, asking for a lawyer, saying she's gone, she's gone, she's gone. I can't believe he's even trying to equate the two of them and say, I mean, she would come and go, you know? I mean, it's the same thing. I don't know. That's why I was like not worried that she was murdered. But your son returned home after a frantic phone call in her van. Yeah. So you didn't have a concern about her? I did. Okay. I said, you know, I was worried maybe I don't know what happened. I'm speculating. I won't speculate anything. Did you? All I know is that, you know, I was waiting for Brian to tell me something. Did you have a concern of that her lifeless body might be out in the woods somewhere unprotected? Of course, I wondered about Gabby, so I don't know where she was. I didn't know what to do. You know, at that point, I was following the advice, and I'm not speaking of Gabby to Brian. Did you ever consider how the Petitos might be feeling not knowing where their daughter was? I'm a considerate person. Of course I was. It was not a pleasant thing for anybody for sure. Well, you know, you could have just made an anonymous phone call to report something, right? I have no idea. That's not my place. I'm taking advice from my attorney, and we're just doing what he advised. Do you feel any obligation at all as a parent to contact the Petito family? Anybody's going to think that way, but you know, I didn't, you know? You didn't feel that way? No, I didn't. I didn't do it. I should have maybe done it, but I didn't. And then that's, you know, what do you... Gestures? Well, your son went missing at some point, correct? Yeah. And you know how awful, of course, that feeling was, right? Of course. So you know what they were going through, Joe Petito and Nicole Schmidt. Not really, because I have no idea really what happened. Well, was your son... What do you mean you don't know? Their daughter was missing. I don't know what happened. She was missing. Yes, she was missing, but I don't know what happened. I don't know. Gabby could have left. Gabby did anything. Like I said, you said that. I didn't say it. Oh man, I just felt like they were just in so much denial. Well, you were concerned about your own son missing, weren't you? Of course. And distressed about that? Of course. So you can imagine they felt the same way, right? Of course. What do you want? What do you want me to tell you? Do you want me to tell you them that something that I'm not sure of? I want you to tell me that you knew their pain, but you did nothing about it. Well, I didn't. I didn't know what to do about it. I wasn't able to help anybody. When did Brian leave your house? The 13th of September? September. After Brian got home from September 1st until September 13th, what did Brian do? We just did normal things. Did normal things? Yeah, we did normal things. Your son murdered somebody and you did normal things? I have no idea of that. But you had an inkling. I'm sure you did. You went camping? We did. What other normal things did you do? Well, we went out to a park, took hikes. We did normal things. When Brian left on September 13th, did you know he was leaving? No. What was his demeanor on or about September 13th of 2021? It was very normal, fine, calm. Attorney Bertolino had used the word grieving. Was he grieving on that date? I couldn't say he was. No. Okay. Did you tell Attorney Bertolino he was grieving? No. So you don't think he was grieving on that date? I don't know what he was thinking on that date. What did you authorize Attorney Bertolino to tell the public that Brian was grieving when he left on September 13th of 2021? I don't remember authorizing that, no. We're going to get into the crux of this lawsuit. This was a statement that was made on September 14th from the Laundrie family. And again, after days, weeks of being silent, this is what they put out. Plaintiff's Exhibit 3. Have you ever seen that before? Yes. And that's a statement dated September 14th. It's a document dated September 14, 2021 on Attorney Bertolino's letterhead, correct? Yes. Did you authorize Mr. Bertolino to release the statement? Yes. Were you aware that the statement was going to be issued before it was issued? Yes. Had you been provided with a copy of it before it was issued? I have read this before it was issued. Okay, so was this a statement that was issued by Attorney Bertolino on your behalf? Yes. And on your wife's behalf? Yes. The first line after it says, statement from counsel for the Laundrie family. This is understandably an extremely difficult time for both the Petito family and the Laundrie family. I'm sorry, if I'm coming out with a statement, I feel like you want to focus on the victim's family, not just on yourself as well. I'm just saying. It's like, oh, we're in this together. It's like, no, you're not in this together with us. If I was a Petito family, that's what I would be thinking. What led you to believe it was a difficult time for the Petito family at that point? Well, everything that occurred. Meaning what? Meaning everything. Meaning Gabby was missing and no one knew where she was? Yeah. Okay. Was it a difficult time for the Laundrie family? We were worried about everything just the same. What were you worried about? What occurred? What do you mean what occurred? Gabby's missing, Brian's missing. So did there come a point between the time Brian disclosed to you that Gabby was gone and the issuance of the statement on September 14th of 2021 that you thought maybe she just didn't walk away? It was becoming more of a thought, I guess. Yeah. Is it fair to say that by this point in this time, you knew that she was dead? I didn't know. You didn't know? No. Okay. But you had suspicions that she was, correct? Unfortunately, it was a thought. Yeah. Okay. It goes on to state, it is our understanding that a search has been organized for Miss Petito in or near Grand Teton National Park in Wyoming. Right? And how did that come to be your understanding? It was in the news. Oh, it was on the news? I thought so. And is Grand Teton National Park near Jackson, Wyoming, where Brian was when he contacted you? I have no idea. Did you say, hey, maybe you should look in the Jackson area, not Grand Teton National Park? I didn't say anything to anyone. Yeah, we know. Of course you didn't. Then it says, on behalf of the Laundrie family, so we speak on behalf of you and your wife, correct? Yes? Yes. It is our hope, so that's his, yours, your wife's, correct. Yes. That the search for Miss Petito is successful and she is reunited with her family. Yes. If she was dead, she couldn't be reunited with her family, could she? Reunited is a term for either or, I think. Either or what? Well, deceased or not. But it doesn't say remains. It doesn't say, we hope her remains are reunited with her family. Does it? Well, or what? Pardon? Well, reunited means reunited. Okay. However, it resolved. What did reunited mean when this statement was issued by your lawyer? What did your wife, mean by reunited? Well, you're saying me and my wife, but I didn't write it. I believe it was a good comment to say and a decent thing to say. And that's that. Oh man, they shouldn't even bring up anything about being decent or not. Oh goodness. So you approved it, correct? I agree with it, yes. So did you have a concern about the word reunited? This right here is the heart of the lawsuit. It's because they made a statement like this, and the Petito's Schmidt family, they're alleging that how could you have made a statement like this, allegedly knowing that Brian killed Gabby? It is such a reckless and intentionally harmful statement to make to someone that caused them severe emotional distress. Because what I think is interesting here, the Laundrie family, when they are interpreting Gabby is gone, they're saying, oh, well, gone could just mean she walked away. And now they're saying, well, we hope that Gabby is reunited with her family. They're saying, well, it could be interpreted as, maybe her dead body or maybe her live body is reunited with her family. We know what the letter means. When you're reading the letter, a lot of people are going to have, at first glance, it's going to be like, oh, they're hoping that Gabby's live body is going to be reunited with her family, not her remains. I don't know. There's so much. I feel like there's a lot of dishonesty going on right here. Like, yeah, you can argue, hey, gone means she walked away. And reunited means that I just meant her remains were going to be reunited with her family, dead or alive. I think it's just really completely dishonest. And it's funny how they're saying, well, we put out this statement because we're just trying to do the decent thing here. No, there were many points, many days leading up to it where you could have done decent things, but you didn't because you didn't want to. You didn't want to face the fact that your son was a murderer. But I get it. You want to say, hey, I'm just listening to my lawyer. I'm just listening to what they're telling me. So did you have a concern about the word reunited? I didn't think of that. Okay. Do you think that maybe you were giving false hope to Petito family that Gabby was still alive? I'm not the one. I thought it was a good thing. And that's, I thought it was a good thing to say and a nice thing to say. Do you think that it might give Joseph Petito and his wife and Nicole Schmidt and her husband false hope that Gabby was still alive? No, I didn't. Okay, so your thoughts was reunited could be she's still alive. My thoughts on reunited was reunited. I see it as what the word has the meaning of, and I don't know. I didn't have a problem with it. You're asking me if I had a problem with it. I didn't have a problem with it. So what meaning did you think it had when it was issued? Well, I'm not big on words, so my meaning is that they'd either Gabby's alive, my interpretation of the word, or not. You knew she wasn't alive. Well, objection, I didn't. It's not a question. You knew at this point she wasn't alive. No, I didn't. Why was the statement issued? Because there were people battering my house down. Everything was very difficult as far as, people. It was a very fearful time. So it felt like it was a time it was demanded from me. No, people were demanding answers from you, not like a bullshit statement. How was the statement going to stop people from acting the way they were acting? I have no idea. Let me finish my question. How was the statement going to stop people from reacting the way they were in front of your house? Well, I didn't think it would stop them, but I thought it would be an awareness that, that they were calling out. Okay. So you were looking out for sympathy for yourself and your family? No, I didn't want any sympathy. When you saw the search in the Grand Teton National Park, did you check to see if anyone was near, if that was anywhere near Jackson? No, I didn't. Did you ever consider the statement might cause harm to the family? No, not at all. Do you think the Petito family on September 14, 2021 was really concerned about your hope that your search was successful? No, it was my hope and then that it would be found and everything would be resolved. Gabby Petito's family issued a statement imploring the Laundries to come out and give them any information that they knew. This is what they're going to talk about now. Were you aware that a statement was issued or that this letter was issued by attorney Rick Stafford on behalf of Joseph Petito and Nicole Schmidt on September 15, 2021? I was aware of it now, I think. I know I saw something about it on the news. Okay, did attorney Bertolino provide you with a copy of this letter? I'm not sure. Did you or attorney Bertolino on your behalf respond to this letter? I'm not sure, but I think we may have. How do you think it was responded? I don't know if we've responded actually. Do you think you saw this back on September 15th? I think I saw it on the news. You saw it on the news? Yeah. Okay, so you're aware that the family was reaching out to you and your family? Yes. And you chose to say nothing. We didn't know what to say about them. We had nothing to say. We didn't have information for them. You what? We didn't have any information for them. Well, you knew she was gone. I know, in your son's words. And that's all the information that was known. And you knew that your son was upset and frantic when he told you she was gone. Correct. Yeah, but that's that. You could have told them what you knew at the time, right? We didn't know very much. I thought everything that would have been known was known. I believe so. Okay, let me show you what's marked Exhibit 5. Do you know on September 19th that attorney Bertolino, on behalf of you and your wife, was going to issue a text message to the press saying the news about Gabby Petito was heartbreaking. So at this time, Gabby Petito's body was found. I remember seeing this, yes. Okay, did you approve of that? I was aware of it. Why was it heartbreaking? Because Gabby was deceased. Was it heartbreaking the day before this text message was issued? It was heartbreaking all along, the whole situation. Okay, did Gabby live with you? Okay, when Gabby lived with you, did you notice that she had electronics like a computer or a laptop and an iPad? Yeah, she had all those things. And she always had on her phone, her iPad and her laptop, right? She was on all those things, yes. When Brian came home in the van, did you notice that her laptop, her iPad were in the car in the van? I didn't notice anything like that, no. Or you're just choosing to ignore it. So you didn't notice the iPad and the laptop and the drone that was brought into your house? No. And no one assisted Brian in taking these things out of the van? No. All right. I don't have any questions. So that's it for Christopher Laundrie. So what do we got from Christopher Laundrie? He knew that Brian told him that Gabby was gone. Gabby was gone. Very frantic. I need help. I need you to help me. Call the lawyer. And the Laundries, well, they want to say, well, she's gone could mean anything. It could just mean that she walked away, Were you concerned about her? Yes, we were concerned about her. Okay, well, why didn't you call her? Why didn't you call her parents? Why didn't you check up on her? We're also going to read Roberta Laundrie's deposition as well, and we do get a lot of information in here. Now, remember, Roberta Laundrie wrote a burn after reading letter. It's a very odd letter where Roberta says, hey, even if you were to murder somebody, I will love you no matter what. I will bake a cake for you and put a file in the cake so you can escape jail, blah, blah, blah. And when this letter came out, it did not look good for her because people are like, wait a second, did she write this letter after Gabby was murdered? Did she know that Gabby was murdered? She said in her affidavit that the letter was written before they took this June trip, this van life trip. But I don't know. I just thought it was very interesting. There was also rumors speculating online that Roberta Laundrie did not have a good relationship, maybe with either Gabby, maybe with Gabby and the son. Maybe she felt jealous of Gabby, that Brian was getting close to her. I don't know, things like that. So let's read her deposition. The time frame that we're at right now is when Brian had already called his parents frantically, and this is after Gabby was murdered. When he returned home from out west on September 1st, at some point, did you and he go get another phone? Yes. When was that? I don't remember the date, but it was, I believe, the first week he returned home. Why did he need a new phone? He didn't say. Okay. Do you know what happened to his old phone? No, I don't. Do you know what kind of phone he had previously? No, I don't. Did he ever own a tab of any kind? I don't believe so. Do you know Mr. Bertolino? Yes. And how do you know him? We're friends from Bayport, Long Island. How long have you known him? Over 30 years. When you say you're friends, how close friends was your family with his family? Oh, I believe we were close. Our children played and we spent time together socially. Okay, so prior to Gabby, did he have any girlfriends? Not that I was aware of. So he never brought anyone home? No, just lots of friends, but I can't name a specific person that he introduced as his girlfriend. Did he ever have any issues at school? No. Okay, never got into trouble at school? No. Ever any fights that you're aware of? No. Did he have anger issues? No. Did he have a temper? No. Describe him, if you would, for me, please. For the 5 years prior to 2021, tell me about him. He's a very sweet boy, kind, considerate, loving. He loved his nephews. He loved his sisters. He loved us. He had a lot of friends that he was friendly with. He was a good boy, hard worker, and I could go on and on. He was wonderful. So different reaction than what we heard from the father, Christopher Laundrie. It was like, oh, describe your son. What do you mean describe? How am I supposed to describe him? Okay, we got a different answer from the mom. Was he ever fired from any job that he had? Not that I know of. Did you ever hear anyone suggest that he was physically abusive in any way? Not at all. What were the circumstances of Gabby coming to your house at the time? I just remembered Brian brought her over one day. We met her. He introduced her as Gabrielle. I don't remember he said the word girlfriend, but he introduced her and we met her. And then like a week or so later, we all went out to dinner, just kind of like getting slowly to know her. What was your understanding in their relationship at the time? I assumed it was his girlfriend. Did he ever announce to you that she was his girlfriend? No, not officially, but I just, bringing her around, hanging around. What was your impression of Gabby? Very sweet. Okay, how would you, just if you describe Brian, how would you describe Gabby? Describe her? Sweet, cheerful, friendly, warm, affectionate, kind, thoughtful, just a really nice girl. What was your relationship with her during that time period? Very friendly. We laugh and joke and talk, and I think we really liked each other. What did you observe about the relationship between Brian and Gabby? I thought they were very sweet together, very playful together. We enjoyed each other, and I thought it was like a nice, good relationship. Did your relationship with Gabby ever change over time? No, well, we got closer as we knew each other longer and longer. As we knew each other longer and longer, we grew closer and we really cared for each other. I cared for her. I believe she cared for me too. She always said so. Did you love her? Yes. Were you jealous of her relationship with Brian? No. Did you recall an incident in which you threw a pie or a cake away? Oh yeah, what is this pie or cake incident? I didn't remember until you mentioned it yesterday, and I didn't throw the pie away. It was silly, and my feelings got hurt over a comment on the pie, and I did apologize to Gabrielle because I think my feelings were hurt and I was sulky, but I thought it was all forgotten. We were fine after that, but I was a little sulky that night. And the next day everything was fine, and I apologized and she was fine with it. And I thought I'd forgotten all about it until it came up yesterday. I felt really bad, but I really thought of it, and I really thought nothing of it. And I thought she thought nothing of it too. Well, what was the comment that was upsetting to you? I don't remember if it was a comment so much. It was, I had made dinner. I had made this pie. I was so excited about my pie and to present on the table. My mother was visiting, and I think I was exhausted from all the people in the house. When I put the pie down, I think there was a comment. I think there was just a little ruckus at the table where it's so silly, but nobody made a nice comment. I guess it was a lack of comment. Nobody said, "Oh, nice pie." And I know that's so silly and I regret it, but I got annoyed. I don't know why I got annoyed at everybody and a little bit of Gabrielle. And it was so silly. I felt bad. I don't even remember it. I vaguely remember it. I just remember it was a pie. I was embarrassed, but I didn't throw out the pie. We ate the pie. It was just, I don't know. I behaved not so nicely and I apologized to Gabrielle. She was very nice about it and we were fine after that. And what was it about Gabrielle that annoyed you? It was nothing specific that annoyed me about Gabrielle. We lived together, but there was little things. I'm sure I annoyed her too, but like anything, even when I spend time with my daughter, who I love, but nothing big, nothing, normal everyday things. But I think we had a wonderful relationship, and I felt she loved me. I loved her, and I felt very bad about the pie coming up. So the pie incident thing is very interesting because a lot of people are like, hey, this mother right here was jealous towards her son, this mother right here was jealous towards her soon-to-be daughter-in-law and maybe had a weird relationship with her son. I honestly, when I read the Burn After Reading letter, I thought it was like a cringy letter, but I didn't really think anything much of it. I know a lot of people are like, oh, there's some conspiracies out there. I thought it was a weird letter, but I was just like, whatever. Maybe literary effect like Miss Becky Hill would say. In regards to this pie incident, I mean, you know what? Sometimes shit just happens. Sometimes you just have a day where you just kind of act up and you're just like, wow, I don't know why I did that. What the hell just happened? So I think we would need more incidents like this to kind of put a story together if there was like some sort of jealousy going on behind the scenes between her and maybe Gabrielle Petito. But right now I'm just like, okay, it's like something weird happened with the pie, whatever. We'll move on to the next. And then they moved to Redacted with you. Yes. How long were they at Redacted for? From about January until May of 2001? Yes. And they lived there full time? Yes. Did you ever see them have any disagreements or arguments between the two of them? No. Did you ever see anyone about their relationship? Did you ever see anything about their relationship that had concerned you? No. When you found out that they were engaged, what was your reaction? I thought it was very sweet. I was very happy for them. Did you have any concerns about them getting engaged at such a young age? No, because they were just well suited and I was married at a young age and I don't know. What do you mean they were well suited? I don't know. They got along so well. They both liked art. They liked drawing. I don't know. They just seemed like a good pair. Did your relationship with Brian change after he started dating Gabby? No, I don't think it changed. Did he ever tell you during that period of time about any issues he and Gabby were having? No. How about when you lived together? Did he tell you about any issues that they were having? No. With regard to the 2021 trip, prior to August 24th of 2021, did you express any concern to Brian or Gabby about the trip? So this is the van life trip. I think right before Brian left, I was kind of disappointed because I was like, another trip? I thought, you guys were going to live here and save your money, get a house. But he was like, it's not going to be that much because we're going to stay in the van. And that was my concern. I thought he wanted to save money for a house. I was a little disappointed, but he was like, it's not going to cost that much and we have a van. So there's a lot of free camping out there and I just felt better about it. That was my only concern. At any time, did you become aware of any incident between Brian and Gabby? No. In particular, on August 12th, there was an incident in Moab where the police were contacted. When did you learn about that? When it was on TV whenever it was televised on TV, I guess. I guess that was September or October of 2021, whenever they put it on TV. So Brian never contacted you about the incident? No. Did you ever discuss it with Brian? No, because I didn't know about it until after Brian was deceased. He was deceased by the time I saw that on TV. Now we're back at the time frame where during his trip with Gabby, Brian comes back to store things from the storage unit and brings it back to his parents' house in order to save money. Did you discuss when Brian was coming home on August 17th? During that time frame, did you discuss with him his relationship with Gabby? No. Did he mention Gabby at all? Not that I recall. No specific conversation I can recall. This was after the Moab incident where they were fighting and someone called in by 911 and the police showed up and talked to them for about like an hour and told them they should just separate for the night at least. What was your understanding of the relationship between Brian and Gabby at the point in the time when he came home in mid-August? My understanding of the relationship was just that they were still together, still dating. Did he express any concern to you about Gabby? No. He didn't tell you about the Moab incident, but he did tell you about whether or not they were having difficulty getting along. No, he didn't say anything like that. He didn't say anything about the argument between them. No. He said, is it fair to say he said nothing that caused any concern about their relationship? Yeah, I had no concern. What was his demeanor and his attitude when he came home at that point in time? We had a very nice week. He seemed happy to see his nephew and his sister. He seemed fine. When he left to go back to Salt Lake City, what was his attitude and demeanor? As I recall, just fine, nothing specific. Was he excited about going back? Yeah, he was excited about going back. I don't know. He wasn't excited. He wasn't upset. He was just going back. And I think he was looking forward to his farming in the fall and everything seemed good. Now, let me know about this part because I don't know if I believe this part, but maybe some of you guys who've got a new cell phones, maybe this has happened to you, but I don't know if I buy this. I don't know if cell phones usually work this way. Did you keep the text messages in your phone? Yes, I have. I don't delete any, but sometimes my phone, after a while, deletes messages. Oh God, when have we heard that before? Have you guys ever heard that in your life where it's like, hey, I saw that you deleted text messages with you and that girl. What happened? I don't know what happened. Sometimes my phone just deletes it. I don't know. It just happens. Didn't Murdoch say the same thing? Like, oh, I don't know what happened. Sometimes it's wait, who said that? Where it's like, oh, sometimes things just get deleted because my phone was full and it just deletes on its own. Who said that? I could have sworn someone said that. Do you still have text messages between you and Brian? No, because when he bought a new phone and I answered his number, it automatically erased all the old texts. I didn't know it was going to do that. I didn't realize. Did you try to recover them? No, I didn't even know you could or how to go about that. So your testimony is that after he bought the new phone, it deleted all the text on your phone from his, strike that. Your testimony is that when he bought a new phone, all the text communications between Brian and you, which were on your phone, were deleted? Yes, because when I put in the new phone number, I don't know, it just did it. I put a new phone number in for Brian. It just, if I had it added him as another Brian, like Brian 1, Brian 2, I probably would have kept it. Because I added a new phone, it just deleted all the old tags. Listen, y'all. Let's say, for example, you have someone in your contacts, okay? You delete the number and you replace it with a new number. What would happen to the text messages? The text messages just wouldn't be labeled as Brian. It would just show the old phone number at the very top. I don't know what kind of phone, what kind of device would just delete the old number and the text messages. The text messages should still be there. It would just not be labeled as Brian. It would just go back to his original where it's just the phone number. But let me know. I don't know. Maybe there's some phones out there where it does that, which I do not believe. I don't believe that. Now we're on the day where things hit the fan. Do you recall what this phone call was on August 29th at about 3:30 or 3:20 in the afternoon? Yes. What was that about? I don't remember exactly which call it was. I don't know. But I remember that we had a long talk. We talked for a long time and it was just, I told him all about our summer, what we were doing, caught him up on the information about the boys, told him about the race, told him about the week in Daytona. So I do remember that conversation. So this is the day that your husband said the phone conversation with him when stuff hit the fan? Yeah, I remember the tail end of that conversation with him where everything seemed fine. As we're saying goodbye, he all of a sudden completely changed and he sounded very upset. His voice was very upset. I didn't know why and I didn't want to push him, so we just said goodbye. But it was left on he was very upset. So when I got off the phone, I told Chris, Brian sounded upset. Maybe you should give him a call. Well, your husband testified yesterday that Brian told him that Gabby was gone. Did Brian ever tell you that? No. Okay. How did you find out that Gabby was gone? I guess Chris must have told me after he got off the phone with him. Okay. And what did you understand gone to mean? I wasn't sure. I don't remember what I thought. I just know from that tone of Chris's voice, it was something serious. Okay. Your husband described his voice as frantic. Would you agree when you spoke to him that he was frantic? I would say he was upset. I don't think he was frantic. He was just definitely upset. He was very upset. He didn't sound like himself. I knew something was wrong. And you didn't ask him what was wrong? Well, it was as if it was when we were saying goodbye. I didn't want to push him. I just thought, well, maybe he's just sad to say goodbye. I wasn't until after I got off, I thought, no, he sounded more than just sad. You had a good relationship with your son? Yes? Yes. You knew he was upset, yes? Yes. But you just said goodbye? Yes. I just thought he was sad to say goodbye. And I figured if he has anything he wants to talk about, he could just talk about it. I don't like to push people and say, what's wrong? What's wrong? We were saying goodbye and it was just the tail end of the conversation. Okay. So you knew that he was upset. Yes. Yes. And your husband told you that Gabby was gone, correct? Yes. Phone calls were made to Attorney Bertolino, correct? Right. Why would you make a phone call to Attorney Bertolino if you didn't know what gone meant? Well, Chris had told me Brian wanted him to call a lawyer. And he didn't say why. I think that's when Chris was telling me that Brian said, Gabby's gone, please call a lawyer. Okay. So if Gabby's gone, please call a lawyer. Doesn't that say to you that she's dead? I didn't know what to think. I don't remember if that crossed my mind. If I was just so nervous, I just thought he was in some kind of trouble. I don't know. It feels as if they purposely just didn't want to acknowledge that. And that's going to explain their way for all their actions moving forward. The reason why they didn't reach out to Gabby, the reason why they didn't reach out to the Petito Schmidt family, the reason why they didn't reach out to law enforcement or come out and give them, give updates or come out to the press and say anything. So what other possible explanation could there be for she's gone? Please call a lawyer. A lot of things ran through my head. Probably they got in a fight and, maybe she's going to press charges against him or something. I didn't know. Well, did you ask? Well, I didn't call Brian after that. I didn't know if we talked about again that day. Your son's upset. Your husband says Gabby's gone. Your husband says call a lawyer. You call a lawyer and you never call your son back immediately and ask him what's going on. I think I spoke to him finally later in the day. I thought I called him back in the night, but it was like 2 years ago. I don't remember exactly, but I thought I did call him back later that night. And at that point, I think our attorney just said, don't talk to him about anything. He'll talk to Brian. Can you tell me any possible option based on your circumstances as you knew them on August 29th? Your son is upset. His conversation with her husband, Gabby's gone, call a lawyer. Any other possible explanation other than she was dead? Oh, a lot of things crossed my mind. And one of them was that maybe they got in a fight. Maybe she's going to press charges against him for maybe he hit her or something, which was one that ran through my mind. A lot of things went through my mind of what to do. What do you need a lawyer for? But I feel like in this scenario, if she's portraying the relationship with her and Gabby Petito correctly, if we can believe her on that, if she thought that Gabby was going to potentially press charges on her son, wouldn't she call Gabby, be like, hey, Gabby, please don't do it. Are you okay? Just check up on her. But I think they knew what gone meant. That's why there was no follow-up phone call. Because seriously, though, anyone would be like, hey, please don't press charges on my son. Like, I'm sure he's really sorry. He's really not like this, blah, blah, blah. But no, she did not do that because I think she knew what gone meant. But now, in retrospect, years later, she wants to say, oh, I didn't know what gone meant. I wasn't really sure. It could have been anything. At least her reasoning makes a little bit more sense than her husband's, though. Her husband was like, oh, it could have just meant she walked off. Roberta was like, oh, it could have meant that, they got into a fight, altercation. Maybe she wants to press charges. But I just don't believe that narrative. I just don't believe it. But the fact that maybe he murdered her went through your mind, didn't it? I don't know if I wanted to. I was so panicky. It might have gone through my mind. I can't recall what I was thinking at the time. Well, from the time that you had a conversation on August 29th until September 1, 2021, did it go through your mind that your son may have murdered Gabby? I can't recall. I don't buy that either. Something as significant as your son committing a murder, which you now know he did, you can't recall of remembering thinking that back in August or September 2021. I don't remember all the thoughts I thought. I was panicking and thinking a lot of thoughts. I think it's hard back to a time with new information what you thought about it at the time, but it probably went through my mind. Can you tell me back on August 29, 2021, that the thought of Brian murdering Gabby didn't go through your head? I can't remember specifically what went through my head. This is the girl you told me you love. Somebody you love. Somebody who's going to become part of your family. You asked no questions about her, of your son, when you learned that she was gone, correct? Correct. Weren't you concerned about her? I was, but I think it was my son I was concerned for. Okay, that's honesty right there. Were you concerned about your son? He was driving home. He was upset. I knew he wanted Chris to call a lawyer. And so I knew things were, so I think it was just telling him, if you're coming home, I don't recall what we talked about. I just remember he said he was coming home. I didn't ask him anything. If Gabby had just walked off on her own, would you have told your son to drive home in her van with all of her stuff on it? No, I didn't tell him to drive home. He just said he was on his way home, and I thought it was really Brian's van. Maybe her parents would pick her up or come and get her. I don't know. Well, you told me that you saw the title was in Gabby's name. Why would you think it was Brian's van? Because he paid for it. I believe he paid for it. He worked on it. I believe it was his. I think it was just a nice gesture that he put in her name. I knew she couldn't afford to pay for her. Or she didn't want to, what the fuck does that say? Or didn't want to pay for her. She was leasing the car and she didn't want, and Brian was paying for the lease. She finally drove home and left the car at the parents' house. And I think she just wanted to put the van in her name to be nice, but I don't remember her even driving it. So when you learned that your son was on the way back, you didn't say to him, wait a minute, what about Gabby? You have all the belongings in the van. You can't just leave her there. Oh, I just figured, it was his van. And I know that when my daughter broke up with her boyfriend, they divided the belongings later. Sometimes, did your daughter kill her boyfriend? I never asked. You never asked? They broke up, and I never asked my daughter why they broke up. I mean, when people break up, I don't ask for details. Did you have any concern that the young lady that you love, to who you describe as sweet, loving, friendly, someone who is going to be your daughter-in-law, part of your family, she lived with you? Did you have any concern that her body might be laying out there somewhere unprotected? No, I didn't think that, but I was concerned for her well-being because I cared for her. But my son's driving home, and I'm nervous, and for him, and oh, you're concerned about her well-being? Well, what did you know about her? What did you do about her well-being? Well, Gabrielle, I thought she can take care of herself. I just was concerned about my son at the time. I figured maybe her parents could come get her, or she would. Last time he left her in a hotel, maybe, Oh, gosh. You had Gabby's phone number, didn't you? Yes. You're concerned about her well-being. Did you try to call her? No. Did you text her? No. Did you take any effort to try to communicate with her and see if she was okay? Well, no, because I was concerned about my son, and I don't know. You're concerned about your son? Yeah. Because you knew he murdered Gabby, right? No. No, just because I was concerned that he was upset. I knew he needed a lawyer. I hope not. I mean, it was just a terrible thing, and I hope not. So Brian gets home September 1st in Gabby's van, correct? Yes. And all of Gabby's stuff was in the van, correct? I don't know what was in the van. You never looked inside the van? No. Did you see Brian's belongings in the house? No, not that I think so. I think I recall him bringing stuff in. Some of Gabby's stuff in it? I didn't look what he was bringing in. You know that eventually her stuff was found in your house, correct? Yes. Including her laptop? Oh, I don't remember what they found. They gave me a listing that they took. I don't remember if her laptop was there. Okay, so when Brian gets home, you express your concern about Gabby. Did you ask him about Gabby? No, I think by the time my attorney advised me just to not talk about anything. So I just gave him something to eat. We didn't talk about anything. As a mother, as someone who loved Gabby, despite what your lawyer said, why didn't you ask questions of your son? Well, that's what Steven told us. That's just what I did. Okay, so you can write her off that easily? I wasn't writing her off. Why didn't you contact Joe Petito and Nicole Schmidt? True. Well, just my attorney told me to not talk to anybody, so I just didn't talk to anybody. Had you met Nicole Schmidt before? Yes. On how many occasions? Once, twice. Did Nicole Schmidt, after September 1st, ever try to contact you by phone? Did you answer the call? No. Okay, because of your attorney's advice? Yes. Did she send you a text message? Yes. Did you answer the text? No. Did you block her phone? No. Okay. Did she reach out to you through Facebook Messenger? I don't know. I wasn't really, not that I know. I really wasn't on Facebook. Oh boy, here comes the vacation time. When Brian came home, what did you do? What did the three of you do? You, Brian, your husband. Well, we were mostly staying home, prepared meals, went out to dinner. I think once or twice watched TV, not much. You went on vacation, didn't you? Oh, yes, yes. We went to overnight to Fort. How could you have forgotten you went on vacation? Ah, boy. We went overnight to Fort DeSoto because we had reservations. We just had bought a camper and we just wanted to test it out. Your life went on as normal? Yeah, we did. We did normal things, yes. How could you go on vacation knowing that Gabby was gone while the Petito family was looking for her? We just had planned to go and test the camper overnight and we were just doing regular things. I don't know. So you didn't want to know what it was that was making him so upset? Well, I just followed Steven's advice and I left. I tried not to. I left him be. So you put your motherly instinct aside and followed an attorney's advice? Well, I think it was my motherly instinct to follow my attorney's advice to do what was best for my son. And that's what I was doing. Were you concerned with your son going to prison at the time? At the time, I don't remember that crossed my mind. So yes, they're doing the legal thing. They're following their attorney's advice because the attorney should have the best interest of their son. Correct. However, morally, it looks reprehensible. It looks egregious. Of course, people are going to be angry at you because you aren't making a statement. You aren't saying anything. The Petito Schmidt family, they have been reaching out to you. They're trying to get information about their missing daughter, and you're not saying anything. You are having your son stay at his house. You either know something, your son either knows something, but no one's talking. Of course, people are going to be upset over that. Of course, people are going to be horribly angry at you. Of course, they're going to see you as egregious people. And her family, of course, they're going to come after you. They're going to do whatever they can to get as much information about their daughter because you guys aren't saying anything. So yes, you're following with what your attorney is advising you guys to do, but at the same time, people are going to give you shit for it. So can you really be surprised when people are coming at you? Can you really be surprised when people are angry at you? No. I mean, death threats are horrible. You shouldn't be getting them. On August 29th, you learned from Brian that Gabby's gone, correct? Yes. And did you think that maybe she walked off somewhere? That was another thought that I had, yeah. Had she ever done that before? She'd often wouldn't come home at night or would disappear. Like I was having a family dinner party and she didn't show up for it. And it turned out that she was in New York and hadn't mentioned it. So no, I didn't really keep track of her. She was independent. What was the longest period of time she disappeared for? Well, I guess she went back for Easter. I don't know if she was coming back. I don't know how many days that was. Okay, but did it turn into weeks? No, probably not. So was there ever came a point when Gabby was gone for a longer period than she's ever been gone before, right? Well, maybe they broke up. I don't know, but that was probably the longest period, yes. And had there ever been a time when Gabby left for a period of time and Brian was upset and frantic and asked for a lawyer? No, exactly. Because Roberta, the context is completely different. I can't believe they're trying to play it up as, oh, she's been gone in the past before. Maybe it happened this way. Let's talk about the statement. What was the purpose of releasing the statement? Oh, there was so much. There were people outside our doors, banging on our doors, banging on our windows, sending us death threats. I think the purpose of it was just to calm the public down so that we didn't know. We did extend our best wishes to Petitos because the people were screaming that we were, horrible things at us, that we felt this would calm them down so that they would, no, we do care. And we were hoping it would calm the public. It was a very scary time. We couldn't leave the house. It was frightening. Did it calm the public down? No. What about the statement led you to believe that it might calm the public down? That we did care, that they were demanding a statement from us, and we just felt like we should give them a statement if they're demanding a statement from us, or it could get worse. It's funny how they're like, we're only making the statement because they're coming after us. It's not like, oh, we made a statement because we actually care about her, and we actually wanted to help her. But no, they gave this bullshit statement where it's just like, oh, we hope you guys find her, and I hope she reunites with her family. And it looked like they were doing it because they wanted to make it seem like they cared. When in reality, even though they said they cared about their son more, their murderous son. It goes to state on behalf of the Laundrie family, it's our hope that the search for Miss Petito is successful and that Miss Petito is reunited with her family. What hope did you have at the time that the search for Miss Petito was going to be successful? We hope for the best. We believe they would find her, she would be fine, and that was our hope. We hope for the best, and we sincerely hope for the best and wanted to extend that to the Petito Schmidt family. Oh no, listen, the moment they want to say that, hey, maybe Gabby went off and she walked away. But we weren't worried because maybe her family picked her up. Maybe her dad came and took care of her mom. The moment when the family were going crazy, when they said, where is Gabby? We don't know where she is. At that point, I feel like that would have been further confirmation that, hey, Your son may have murdered Gabby. He may have hurt her severely. She's out there somewhere. I absolutely do not buy it that when the family could not themselves locate Gabby Petito, that the Laundrie family, Roberta here, would think that, oh, I hope that, like, for the best, that, like, they were going to reunite with Gabby and things were going to be fine. The family couldn't find her. They didn't know where she was. And if you really thought she was alive and maybe lost somewhere, you would just be like, oh, hey, by the way, we talked to Brian and, maybe she's in Jackson. She could be there if you really thought she was alive. But no, they for sure knew that she was gone, dead by then. They had to have known. All of their actions align with people who believe their son murdered Gabby. And these are the people that did nothing about it. Their actions completely align with that. They want to take their actions and say, no, we actually believe that she was alive. We actually believe that she was okay. The actions do not align with that. You learned from your husband that he told your husband Gabby was gone, correct? Correct. And after that, whatever occurred, your son needed a lawyer, correct? Yes. And this was now 17 days later. Brian didn't hear from Gabby. Brian didn't hear from Gabby, did he? Not that I know of. You didn't hear from Gabby either, did you? No. There was all kinds of news reports about the family begging for help, looking for Gabby. Wasn't there? Finding Gabby? Yes. Okay. With all that in perspective, what led you to believe she might be alive? I just had hope. I heard stories of where, people are looking for their daughter where they find her much later. I just never want to give her a hope. Why is she pulling another story that has nothing to do with this? There are stories where people have been, like children, have been kidnapped, yes, and then miraculously 20, 30 years later, they become reunited with their family. That's wonderful. However, in this context, it is very different. Her son calling frantically, asking for a lawyer, saying she's gone, blah, 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 blah. The context is very, very different. I don't know why Roberta's trying to pull a different story and be like, oh, wait, it could be the same story as that. No. You're just being extremely deceitful here. Did you wonder why, after you gave $25,000 to Attorney Bertolino, why your son might need a lawyer? Yes, yes. Okay. And what was your thought about that? He must have done something, or something must have happened that he could be in trouble for, and whatever it was, he wanted to get a lawyer from him. Did you ever consider that the statement might be a setting to Joe Petito and Nicole Schmidt? No, not at all. Did you ever consider it was giving them false hope that their daughter was alive? I had hope that she was alive. I wasn't giving false hope. I didn't know that I didn't know until I heard on the news that she was gone. I had hope also. Yeah, listen, I think they're just trying to play dumb here. Oh my God. There's no way a jury is going to believe this. No way. I mean, it only takes one person, but no way. Oh, I can't wait to listen to this trial, especially to listen to her in person saying all this, because, sometimes when you read the transcripts, it could be a lot different than when people are saying in person. Maybe the body language is different. Maybe the tone, voices, very different than what we think we're reading in our minds. Oh man, Roberta, she messes up here. Let's see what Roberta has to say. Exhibit 5 is a text message between Attorney Bertolino sent to Jossie Carbonin. I believe that's a station on the East Coast. And the message says, the news about Gabby Petito is heartbreaking. The Laundrie family prays for Gabby and her family. Did I read that correctly? Yes. Do you know why it was sent out? Well, that must have been when they found Gabrielle. If this was on the 19th, it must have been that Gabrielle's death must have been on the news that day. Yes, September 19th. I remember that was the day was in the news that Gabrielle had passed. How was the news heartbreaking to the Laundrie family? Oh, it was heartbreaking in so many ways just to know Gabrielle was gone. And it was just heartbreaking. So it wasn't heartbreaking before that? Well, I didn't know she was gone until it was on the news. And that's when it was very heartbreaking. Well, the words that your husband told you on August 29th is that she was gone. Right. That is where she royally screwed up. Look at the context that she used the word gone there. She used the word gone how most of us would have interpreted Gabby was gone, that Gabrielle was dead. Oh, dude, I don't know, she realized that she fucked up right there. So when you found out that she was gone, did you reach out to Joe Petito and Nicole Schmidt? No. Why not? We just kept following her attorney's advice to not speak to anyone. So after, for sure, confirmation knowing that Gabby was dead, they still didn't come out. They still didn't come forward and say, hey, by the way, Brian told us that Gabby was gone a couple weeks ago. Hey, by the way, Brian told us that he was in Jackson. No information whatsoever. They never even came forward to even want to help. They're just in the background. They're just blending themselves in the background and using their attorney as the, oh, hey, this is the guy you can blame for everything. We get to the burn after reading letter. This is the letter where a lot of people were like, oh, is there something weird going on with Brian Laundrie and his mother? Listen, I do not like Roberta Laundrie. I do not like what they did. I think what they did was horrible. However, just because I don't like someone, I'm not going to take one piece of evidence and then all of a sudden say that I'm an expert on the relationship between him and her son. We have context for all the other stuff in regards to them probably knowing that Gabby was dead when Brian called them and what they did with it the following week, staying silent, going on vacation. The burn after reading thing, I know it's fantastical and exciting to have this narrative that maybe Roberta and Brian had a very inappropriate relationship. Because remember earlier I said that I thought the letter was cringe. I think the mom was just trying to be very poetic. You know, she has her sense of humor. I wouldn't take this one letter and just be like, oh my God, there's something going on with them. There would have to be way more evidence, way more other context surrounding it. It can't just be like this one letter. So we're going to go over the letter and she's going to give us an explanation of why she wrote it and everything behind it. So this is what they refer to in the press as the burn after reading letter. Yes. When was this? Would you agree this letter is undated? Correct. Okay. And the handwriting that's on the first page, remember, is that your handwriting? Yes. Why did you write remember on the front? It was remember ... that I'll always love you. So if you open it up, that's all how I always love him. It was like, remember, I'll always love you. Okay, is there a reason why it's not dated? I just think to not date it. I don't always date notes. When did you write it? Before he was leaving for him and Gab's trip on May of 21. Why did you write it then? Because I thought he might be going away longer than I thought. You know, I knew he was going away. I was going to miss him and I just wanted to make sure he knew I loved him. Even though he was going away, I was disappointed, but it didn't matter. It was okay. Because we got in a little thing about, I thought you're going to live here and save your money, but I didn't want him to think that I was disappointed in him or I didn't love him. Or so whatever he decided to do, I would always love him. Did he and you have a disagreement over him leaving? No, not a disagreement, but I wanted to express that I was disappointed. I had waited for us to move in together. After we went back to New York, I couldn't wait until we lived together, which I know is silly. He's a grown boy, but I thought he would live with us for a while, save us money, work, and put it away. I know he wanted to buy a house, so I expressed I was disappointed, but he's a grown boy. He can do whatever he wants. And he's so tiny, I just thought maybe we're growing apart. We were growing apart because he's growing up. He's not a little boy anymore. Did you write this letter because you were concerned that he didn't know you loved him? Well, I thought he might be concerned because I was disappointed that he might think, yeah, I still don't love him, but no. I mean, I really didn't think. I just wanted to reassure him that I loved him no matter what. No matter if he moved away, if he decided to stay out west, whatever he did. If he didn't buy a house and decided to do something else, I don't know. Whatever he did, I would always love him. Why did you write burn after reading on it? Well, Gabby had brought Brian a book. It was called Burn After Writing. It was how you could put your deepest thoughts down. And if they're embarrassing, you didn't want anyone else to read them. So the advice in the book was just to burn it. So it was just a little joke that I knew he would get. He would know what I was referring to. And I did want him to get rid of it, not burn it, but throw it out so nobody would read it. It's an embarrassing note, but it says burn after a reading. It says, turning to the next page, you are my boy. Nothing can make me stop loving you. Nothing will or could ever divide us. Right. Why did you feel the need to say that? I guess I just have, I'm just being over the top, mushy, emotional, just so he knew we were always, even if he grew up, he would always be my little boy. If he's 40, 50, he'll always be my boy and nothing can ever divide us. Okay. Even if he didn't speak to me for 6 months because he's mad or something, I would forgive him and we talk about it like nothing. I don't know. Based on what she's saying and how she's describing this letter, I feel like maybe their relationship was deteriorating. Maybe there was some strain between them, perhaps, just based off what she's saying. Apparently, before they took on this trip, Brian and Gabby, they all of a sudden didn't even tell the parents, move all of their stuff from the house and put it in a storage unit, which is really weird because it's like, why would you put it in a storage unit when you can just leave it at your parents' house for free? Why not just leave the stuff there? And they didn't even give the parents a heads up. They're like, hey, we're going to move our stuff into the storage unit and then we're going to go on this very, very long trip. They kind of just did it. And then the dad confronted him when he saw the receipt of the storage unit. So maybe there was something going on in the relationship where it was deteriorating or they were just getting annoyed of each other. I mean, they were living all together for 6 months under the same roof. Okay, nothing including murder would make you stop loving him, correct? Oh, I would always love him. Then it says, no matter what we do or where we go or what we say, we'll always love each other, right? No matter what, including murder? Well, I didn't say including murder, but I would always love my boy no matter what. And then you say, if you're in jail, I will bake a cake with a file in it. Yes. What led you to believe he might be in jail? Well, I went out with a series of silly examples that were far-fetched. Like I would never actually think that he would end up in jail. He was such a nice, good boy. I would never imagine it. Just like I would never imagine, if you read on, that he would ever go to the moon. I don't think he was suddenly going to be an astronaut at school and go to the moon. I was just being exaggerating and silly. And I tend to be, I don't know, seem jokingly. But I'm intending, I always joke. Even my tight sticks was a joke. I'm always doing jokes. Even if they're not good jokes, I'm always joking. And so I was just making it light. Like, if you go to jail, if you go to the moon, if you do that, no matter what, I'll love you, love you, love you, love you. And it was just a silly letter. I never imagined the future when I wrote this. You understood he could have gone in jail for murder, right? Not when I wrote this letter, and not ever. I wasn't actually going to put a file on the cake. Who does that? I don't know, in the movies? And next, you say, if you need to dispose of a body, I will show up with a shovel and garbage bags. What led you to believe that he might need to dispose of a body? I know, okay, this is so crazy. Somebody had told me a joke and I thought it was funny. I told people at work, I told Brian, I thought it was the funniest joke. Somebody to me, oh, a good friend is somebody that shows up with a garbage bag and a shovel. Oh, somebody can call you at 3 a.m. in the morning and they show up with the garbage bags and a shovel and they don't ask any questions. Haha, that's so funny. Like, that's how you know it's a good friend. No, that's how you know it's a shitty friend that's complicit and it's just disgusting, okay? You're both disgusting. I'm sorry. If you have a friend or a family member out there who's going to help you dispose of a body, I thought it was a funny joke. And the person told me that it was funny. I told it to Brian. They thought it was a funny joke, so I was referring to the joke. But I didn't have time to write out the whole joke, but I knew he would know the joke that I was referring to. Your intent in writing this letter was to express his depth of love to him. Right. But you don't say whatever you do in life, I'll be proud of you, correct? I know, that would have been better. You don't talk about what a great childhood he had, correct? Yes? Right. You don't talk about memories of him, correct? Correct. You don't talk about places you've gone together, correct? Correct. You don't talk about what he did to make you love him the way you do, correct? But I do have other letters like that. But we're talking about this letter. Right, I know, yeah. Which talks about jail and murder. I don't write in this letter, but I've written other letters like that. I've written, you don't say any of those things, but you talk about jail and burying a body. I know, it was a poor choice of words. When I read this letter, I was like, this sounds awful, but it was nothing. It was jokey, a stupid letter that I dashed off before he left with lots of bad jokes and poor humor. But that's how I intended it. I never imagined any of this. It sounds so bad now. By the time I wrote it, it was just jokey and stupid. Okay. But I do have letters that I've written him that's listing all of his good qualities, listing good memories. I've written tons of things like that, letters like that. But you didn't put in this one. I know. I should have. I wrote this stupid one, which is written about the time he murdered Gabby. Ooh. Yeah, way before. This was like in May before their trip, and I just wanted to make sure. Well, we'll just have to take your word for that, right? Yeah. What do you guys think? Do you guys think the letter was written after or before the murders? I'm not really quite sure. I can see it being written completely afterwards because it would make sense. It's like, hey, you did all these things and no matter what, I'll still love you. And it says burn after read. Oh God, it looks really bad. It looks really bad. However, I'm not 100% convinced. I think it's possible that it could have been written before as well. But man, does it look bad? I would need more evidence to be completely convinced. But yeah, it looks really, really bad. After this letter came out, there was an affidavit of Roberta explaining the context of this letter. Okay, this affidavit was written about the letter that we just went over, correct? Yes. The purpose of the letter was to reach out to Brian while he and I were experiencing a difficult period in our relationship. What was that, a difficult period? Oh, he was leaving home and I was, he had a new girlfriend. Wait, new girlfriend? I mean, they were dating for like over a year. So we're not spending as much time together, nothing big, just not what it was when he was little. He was growing up. Yeah, no duh. Okay. And I guess I was having more trouble with it than anything. I wish my kids would stay little, but I just wanted to reassure him that I loved him. Things were changing. He's growing up. He's taking a trip I wasn't thrilled with and just difficult. You found out about the trip, I believe you said a couple weeks before they left, right? I think it was less than a week. But in the next sentence, you say, in the months prior to the trip, our relationship has strained. Yeah. Why was your relationship strained? Well, like I was just saying, we weren't spending time together. I don't know. It just wasn't the same as it was. And that is the end of Roberta's deposition. So now I want to know, if y'all were in their shoes, what would you have done? I mean, hey, they said they were following the advice of their lawyer, but like I said, you cannot be surprised. You cannot be upset when people are angry at you. You cannot be upset when her family is coming after you, trying to relentlessly get information from you. However, for them to try to play dumb and say, oh, I didn't know what gone meant. I thought gone just meant maybe she walked away, maybe she went off somewhere, and you didn't even call her, you didn't follow up with her. And then also to say, oh, reunited could mean anything. It could just mean that, reunite her dead body with her family. No. When you're using words like this, gone, reunited, you know exactly what you're talking about. You know exactly what you mean. I think they were just trying to play dumb. You see, if it was me, I would be trying to get as much information as I can from him. I don't know how they felt comfortable having him back into their house, having him around the family members, the nephews, nieces, and acting like everything was normal, going on a camping trip. I don't know how they felt comfortable doing that. That is just so weird and bizarre to me. You see, when I was young, it always irritated the shit out of me when adults wouldn't do the right thing. So as an adult now, I feel like I'm tend to be a little bit more skewed on like the righteous side, where if I see there's something wrong, I call it out. I try to follow the rules and all that stuff. And you know what? Some of my friends joke and say, oh, hey, maybe that's your Japanese side. Maybe you just like to follow rules, blah, blah, blah. But anyways, you see, for me, I don't like it when family members are loyal to one another just because they're family members, no matter what kind of wrong they did. I think that's horrible. I think it's okay to love them no matter what, but to continue to let them stay in your house and act like everything's fine, no. But let's say, for example, if Roberta Laundrie and Christopher, if they knew about the Moab incident, where maybe they thought that Gabby was the one who was the aggressor, Brian had a bruise in his face. If they knew about that incident, and then maybe they perhaps thought, oh, Brian was defending himself, it was self-defense, and maybe he accidentally killed her, then maybe I would have a little bit more understanding. But they didn't know about the incident. It seems like he straight up just killed her, and they just wanted to be ignorant about the whole situation and just, hey, let's act like ignorance is bliss. There are more depositions out there with Gabby Petito's family, with Steve Bertolino, the lawyer, as well. And that one is quite contentious. But anyways, if you guys are interested in that, let me know. Maybe we'll do it in a live stream, or we'll read the entire transcript on the live stream. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe and leave a comment below just for the algorithm thing, and hit the like button. And I'll see you guys on the live stream. Say hi, and we'll be doing, I don't know, there's a lot of things to be covering this month, but hopefully we'll see this in a jury trial in May of this year. All right, y'all, have a good one. Don't be that one person that's going to show up with a shovel to cover up your friend's crimes.